Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waha, Wacha Chadash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who will well teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much we're going to go into Genesis 3, because you have a lot of wacky tacky Christians. They'll read Genesis 3 and have the, how can I say it, misconstrued understanding of the scriptures, and they believe that Adam and Eve bit an apple and it wasn't an apple, and they believe that the serpent was an actual snake, which that is totally wrong. All right. And we're going to break this down, and we're going to read from verse 1 all the way down to 6. And we're going to show you that it was not actual fruit that they ate. It was the philosophies. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. We're going to break this down, and we're going to start from verse 1 and go all the way down to 6. This is Genesis 3 and 1. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field." Now, the serpent, it was really actually talking about an actual man, not a snake. And we're going to validate this. And I should have got this out, but we're going to get it out anyway. All right. Now, it's going to give you two meanings when you look up
serpent.
And it says a large snake, which that's not correct. Number 2, a sly or treacherous person. All right, and that's what the serpent is talking about when you read in the scriptures. When somebody do you wrong, you call him a snake. That dude is a snake, man. Don't trust that guy, right? A sly or treacherous person, especially one who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. That's what a serpent is, and that's what it was talking about. So a serpent is an actual man, and that man was Esau. All right, he had melanin in that time, but that serpent was an actual person. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field," and the beast is meaning people. In this verse, it's meaning actual people, just like the trees is talking about actual people. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Elohim had made," right? Because the Lord created the people of the earth. There was more than one person there. Because you got people that think Adam and Eve were the only two people around in the Garden of Eden. No, there were other people there. There was thousands of other people there. There's lots of people there. There was lots of people there. Adam and Eve were not the only two people around in that time. There were lots of people. All right. And when you go into the scriptures, I believe it's in verse 2, it says, "Let us make them." That's speaking plural. "In our image." So it's more than one people there. All right. And it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Elohim," because that word God there in the Hebrew is Elohim. Allah means power. Yum is plural for powers, right? So that yum there is speaking plural. So it's powers. Yahweh Shai and the angel established the creation on the earth. The Lord gave Yahweh Shai and the angels the power to do the creation on the earth. Yahweh Shai and the angels created the earth. It says, "And he saith unto the woman," right? The serpent did, the man, Esau. "And he said unto the woman, Yea, have Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden." The tree is speaking plural about people. It's talking about people. It says, "Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden." It was talking about people, right? Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, which was a man, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Those are talking about actual people. All right. We're going to prove that once we get down to verse 6. Verse 3. But the fruit of the tree, so remember that word tree there. You see it. It's mentioned in verse 1, 2, and 3. All right. Keep in mind that word tree there. It says, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Allahayim have said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. All right. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Verse 5. For Allahayim doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Verse 6. When the woman saw that the tree, this is mentioned the fifth time, was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, right? It says, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And what did they eat? They ate the philosophies. They took on the philosophies. Let's prove this. We're going to go back to Genesis 3 and 6 later.
Serpent. So
the serpent was what? A sly or treacherous person, especially one who exploits a position of trust in order to betray it. That's the serpent. It was an actual man. Let's get out that Mark 8 and 24. Because remember, when you read from verse 1 all the way down to 6, it mentions trees like 5 to 6 times. Mark 8 and 24. And he looked up and he said, I see men as trees walking. So those were actual people. Actual men. So when you read in the scriptures of Genesis, the third chapter, it's talking about the trees. Those are actually men that it was talking about. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. So there you go. When you read Genesis 3 and 6, it goes into the talking about the trees in the garden. Those are actual men. Those are people there. Those are people there that it was referring to. So when you read the scriptures, you got to really understand what it's actually saying in those verses. Because if you read it from a carnal aspect, you're going to think of it as it's talking about an actual tree with fruit on it, and it's a snake talking to them. You're gonna be carnal. But when you read the scriptures from a spiritual aspect, you're going to understand and know what it's actually talking about. All right? Let's read it again. This is Mark 8 and 24. It says, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. So there you go. Those trees were actual men. Those are people there. And the fruit was talking about the philosophies. All right. And we're going to get, I want to get out, we can get out Hosea 10 and 13. This is Hosea 10 and 13. It says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies. So there you go. They took in of the fruit of lies. They took on the philosophies. And we're going to go into the meaning of that word plow, right?
Plowed.
It says plowed, right? And actually, we're going to have it just say plow to make it more simple, right? There we go.
Plow.
A large farming implement with one or more blades fixed in a frame drawn by a tractor or by animals and used for cutting furrows in the soil, right? And turning it over, especially to prepare for the planting of seeds. So when you plow something, you're planting something. When you plow wickedness, right? You're planting wickedness. When you plow it, you're planting it, which is the philosophies. You're planting it in your spirit. So they were plowing wickedness. They plowed wickedness, which was the philosophies. That was the forbidden fruit, right? Because right now, we learn from the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Those men are plowing what? Righteous fruit. But you got wicked men out here plowing what? Wicked fruit, right? Forbidden fruit. Lies. Teaching that the MOTB is spiritual and sin. That's plowing wickedness. That's plowing forbidden fruit. But the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, they're teaching that as what? That the MOTB is what? The seed to the hip. So they're plowing what? Righteous fruit. You don't want to be plowing forbidden fruit, which is wicked fruit, lies. So that's what Adam and Eve took on. They took on the philosophies, which was the fruit of lies. Hosea 10 and 13, it says, ye have plowed wickedness. Ye have reaped iniquity. Ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. So they trust in the fruit of lies. That's what they took on. The forbidden fruit was the lies. It wasn't talking about an actual apple, a pear, mango. It wasn't talking about no actual fruit. It was talking about the philosophies, the lies. Galatians 6 and 7. This is Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not deceived. Yahweh Bashimashai is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. They sowed wickedness. So now they reaped wickedness. When you sow wickedness, you're going to reap wickedness. And that's what they did. They took on the fruit of lies. They took on the philosophies. So let's read that again. Let's go back to Genesis 3 and 6. This is Genesis 3 and 6. And when the woman saw that the tree, now remember, we read in Mark 8 and 24, those were men as trees walking. Those are actual people. It says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, which was the fruit of lies, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. How can you get wise? You can't get wise off of a fruit. You got to use your brain. Buy the apple right now and see if you're going to get wise. Buy the pear right now and see if you get wise. It's talking about the philosophies, the fruit of lies. That's talking about the philosophies. It's not talking about an actual fruit. It says, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof. The fruit thereof. Right? Hosea 10 and 13. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies. That's what she took on. That's what she took on. The fruit of lies. And she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, the philosophies, and gave also unto her husband with her, talking about Adam. He took on the philosophies, the fruit of lies, right? And he did eat. They took on the philosophies. That's what happened. They took on the philosophies. Job 4 and 8. Even as I have seen they that plow iniquity, which is wickedness, right? You plow something, you're planting wickedness. Fruit of lies, that's the fruit of wickedness. That's philosophy, right? And sow wickedness, reap the same. So if you sow it, you're going to reap it. You sow that wickedness, you're going to reap that wickedness. And that's what they did. They sowed the wickedness. They plowed wickedness. They plowed the fruit of lies, the philosophies, the forbidden fruit, the fruit of lies, right? And sow wickedness, reap the same. So they reaped it. They sowed the wickedness. They reaped the wickedness, which was the fruit of lies, the philosophies. They took on the fruit of lies, the philosophies. Matthew 7 and 16, it says, ye shall know them by their fruits, right? It says, do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Or it says of thistles. See, so ye shall know them by their fruits, right? There you go, man. It's in the scriptures. Matthew 7 and 17, even so every good tree, right, which is man, bringeth forth good fruit. And who's doing that? For an example, we have men of the Lord that's bringing forth righteous fruit, good fruit, which is truth, right? But a corrupt tree, which is, you got these so-called prophets out here teaching false doctrines, forbidden fruits, fruits of lies, right? But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. And you have these so-called men of the Lord. I call them so-called men of the Lord because they teach false doctrines. That's a corrupt tree. So you're taking on what? Evil fruit, wicked fruit, fruit of lies. That tree is a parable, a metaphor, meaning men. That's what that is. A man, right? That's what that's meaning. So there you go, man. When you plow something, you're sowing, you're planting something, you're planting wickedness. So let's read it from the top again. Read it from the very top. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle, and we're going to get that word subtle out there. I should have got that earlier, right?
Strong's H, 6175. Arum. Arum.
Khan. It goes into...
Second entry. Arom. Arom.
Khan. It goes into H6175. Aram. Actually, Aram. Which is what? Subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly. Sly, right? Sensible, sly, crafty, sly, right? And when we went to the definition, right, of serpent, a sly or treacherous person. It was an actual man. It was an actual man. Let's go back. It was an actual man. A sly and treacherous person. That's a serpent, an actual man. It wasn't a snake. That was an actual man that beguiled Eve to those fruits of lies, those philosophies. Not an actual apple, pear, grape to bite it. In that case, it would be in a law not to eat fruit. It would say, thou shalt not eat an apple, thou shalt not eat a pear, thou shalt not eat a watermelon. It would say that in the Mosaic law. It doesn't say that in the Mosaic law. We're eating apples and fruits right now. That would be against the scriptures. If it was actually talking about fruit, it would be in the Mosaic law not to eat fruit. We wouldn't be eating fruit right now. So it wasn't talking about no actual fruit. You got to be spiritual when you understand in the scriptures. If you read it from a carnal aspect, you're not going to have the capability. You're going to be thinking Santa Claus can come down chimneys, and you're going to be thinking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers can literally fly in the sky. You're going to be bugged out. Galatians 3:1. It says, now the serpent was more subtle. We went into the meaning of the word subtle. It goes into sly, crafty, a sly, crafty person, right? Than any beast of the field. The beast is talking about actual people. Brute beasts, right? Brutish beasts. It says, which the Lord power have made. And he said unto the woman, the serpent, which was a man, which was Esau. He had melanin in. He had melanin back then. It says, yea, have Elohim said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. The tree is actually talking about men, which was the philosophies, right? Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, which was a man, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. The fruit of the trees of the garden, right? The philosophies, the fruits of lies, right? Verse 3. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, ye shall not eat of it. Talking about the philosophies, the fruit of lies. Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, right? The crafty, treacherous, right? Sly man, which was Esau, deceived her. Told her what? And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not eat. It said, ye shall not surely die. Salakia. Till he told her that she wouldn't die. Verse 5. For Elohim doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Right? So they took on the philosophies. Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree, that the man with the philosophies, right, the fruit of lies, right, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, the fruit of lies, I got to get that out again, right, to remind people out there so they can understand what is actually being said. And let me get that. I think it was here it is. Hosea 10 and 13. It says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies. So remember, the fruit of lies. They eaten the fruit of lies. The forbidden fruit. The fruit of lies. I have to keep saying that. The fruit of lies. So you won't forget. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, the fruit of lies, right? And that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree, meaning the man, to be desired to make one wise, which is the other philosophies, right? She took of the fruit thereof. She took of the fruit thereof. She took of the fruit thereof. Ye have eaten of the fruit of lies. She took of the fruit thereof, right? The fruit of lies, and did eat the philosophies, the fruit of lies, the philosophies, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. They ate of the philosophies, the fruit of lies. It wasn't talking about an apple, a pear, a grape, a mango. What else can I say out there? What other fruit is out there? A tomato, because a tomato is a fruit. It wasn't talking about none of that stuff. A plum. It wasn't talking about none of that stuff. It was talking about the philosophies. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh Bashima Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the Servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. So, hey, Adam and Eve did not eat of an actual apple. They took on the philosophies. They ate of the fruit of lies. Not an actual fruit. It wasn't a pear. It wasn't an apple. It wasn't any of that. They took on the philosophies. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. With that, till next time I say, Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom.